This is a collection of theories, ideas, and observations about the automatons. Sorry for a lack of recent uploads. I had 2 projects that I worked on recently, and a third one that never really made its way through, but I scrapped them because they really stunk. So while another video is in the work, I shout out this low effort thing, and I'm gonna put some background footage from Admiral Sato for you to look at. Link to his channel in the description. This all comes from him. He's my best friend, and I stole this with like half permission. But trust me, this video will like really rock the boat. The next video, uh, it'll be really cool and really stupid. But for now, let's get into the random thoughts about the automatons. First of all, the board. This is an imagination of what the military-industrial complex of the automatons probably looks like. It's essentially a remastered graphic from a very old video I did called the Automaton War Machine. So go watch that for more in-depth explanation of what the board used to look like. Basically, resources and organs get funneled into warehouses, which get funneled into factories, which get funneled into probably more warehouses, which either get funneled into reinforcement networks or outposts. All of this under the watchful eye of Joel, using his command bunkers, which are more likely supercomputers than actual bunkers, to order around everything through the communication networks and build everything with the construction networks. We also have the implications of the organ theory. The automatons post up corpses around the SCAF, around the outposts. But sometimes they leave them around in cities and minor points of interest. On the butcher tables, they also only have civilians. There are 2 possible results of this. Either the automatons only use civilians to harvest organs and just kind of keep the SCAF around as trophies, or the more likely option, besides the corpses they miss, the propped up corpses we see around outposts have been emptied of blood. The fact that they sometimes miss corpses in the streets implies that there are inefficiencies in the system, meaning that there is most likely no dedicated unit constructed for this purpose, which is what I originally thought, or that this hypothetical corpse collector, I'm sure we can get on screen of the D&D cadaver collector, whatever it's called. Anyways, this hypothetical corpse collector is made extremely cheap. That makes me picture a cobbled together robot dude carrying a wagon, whistling as he picks up dead bodies, which is hilarious, objectively morbid. And before you say anything, I know it's been recently confirmed that they don't have human brains. However, they probably use blood as fuel, like V1 from Ultra Kill, or use a fuel that is partially made from human blood, or has it as a crucial ingredient. That's what I think, anyways. The cyborgs. What happened to the cyborgs after the automaton invasions? This is like something that a lot of people ask about, but I haven't really seen much of an answer from Arrowhead. So it's possible that the cyborgs modded themselves until they turned into the automatons, or like did the automatons rebel against the cyborgs? Like kind of getting a kill all humans directive. Did the cyborgs create the automatons and are using them as war slaves while they live on peace in Cyberstan? The biggest confirmed link we have between them is this tweet, which may probably put on screen, which when translated is a message from the cyborgs calling the automatons their children. But if that's the case, this implies that they were fully developed at the end of the First Galactic War, or at the very least most of the way there. So why did they wait 100 years to attack? Maybe because in between that time there was a rebellion? Anyways, personally, I subscribe to the Great Illuminate theory, which I created, which states in part that the Illuminate created the automatons using the cyborgs. My version of events basically goes, the squids knew they would retaliate at the end of the First Galactic War, but they wanted to hide their involvement, so they mind-controlled cyborgs to send that message out to kind of frame the cyborgs for what the squids did. There's like some other stuff that doesn't add up, like the cyborgs are, before the automaton invasion, they were enslaved on Cyberstan throughout the whole thing, so like, when did they build? Cyborgs are very weird with their implications. There's also automaton factory hubs. This is something on the board where I kind of talk about factories. We know that fabricators only produce when helldivers are around. We know this because outposts would be filled past the brim after a few months of production. So we can conclude that most of the automatons the helldivers fight do not go around from outpost fabricators, because fabricators only go off when helldivers are around, and they either go off constantly, in which case it would just be way too many, or they only go off when helldivers are around, which is not enough. The same goes for heavy enemies manufactured in bulk fabricators. There's just too many of them for them all to have come from those giant lozenges, especially since we're only fighting about like 1% of the automatons, with the SEAF fighting the rest. Also, we never see anything about the production of medium automatons. This means that somewhere, yet everywhere, the automatons have constructed what I'm going to call the Automaton Factory Hub, or the AFH. Sorry, I don't know what. The AFH. The AFH sends out, like, produced troops to march on the front lines, or to outposts, or just on patrol. Some of them are sent to dropship facilities so they can be quickly redeployed at moment's notice. All of this really makes me want a mission where we take down an AFH, if they even exist. Automaton command structure. Automatons don't have a society, right? The same way humans do. They don't have a population to defend, which means that the automaton government is the automaton military command. They're the same thing. We know exactly 3 things about the automaton military command. Joel is leading everything. Commissars, according to their description, are something like equivalents to sergeants, maybe, probably, if such an equivalent does exist. And command bunkers most likely do something, probably. If you want my take on the whole thing, I'd say each command bunker is most likely one concrete-covered supercomputer housing an AI, quote-unquote, general. I cannot be certain of how much control these bunkers have over individual automatons. Likely more than a little and less than a lot. Joel is most likely like a Abaddon the Despoiler type commander, where he lets them do their own thing until he reunites them all for one big coordinated effort. Kind of explains why they don't really coordinate at all until they just like collectively lock in. Joel will mostly let his AI generals do as they please until they need him. Are buildings people? Okay, I know this sounds like a shitty Vsauce parody, but I assure you this is slightly serious. Automatons treat human buildings the same way they treat humans, rocket-propelled prejudice. And any robots are usually programmed in the cheapest, simplest ways possible, especially expendable robots like troopers. What I'm saying is, it's entirely possible that humans are recognized by human constructs, right? They shoot humans because they're under the category of humans in their code, and they shoot buildings because they're also under the same category. Basically, spaghetti code. Are the automatons programmed with so much spaghetti code they can't differentiate between human constructions? You know? Am I making any sense whatsoever? Maybe not, but, you know, I'm gonna act like I am. Also, just a footnote, something I noticed on automaton programming: if something explodes around them, but the helldivers are nowhere to be found, the automatons just won't notice. I figured this out when I blew up a command bunker with a recoilless rifle from 200 meters away, and then I went in, and then realized nothing detected me. So either the automatons have some limitations in their detection programming, or their stuff just blows up from time to time without human intervention, and they just get used to it. Not only is this mark of stupidity probably against, like, evidence against them having free will, but also it's just really funny. Something to think about. Okay, the fleet and naval combat. The way I reached my conclusions on this topic, it took me a very long time to discover something very simple. I might make a future video about how I reached all my conclusions and kind of like link it in the comments. Basically, the automatons put a big, in theory, or like according to the theory, more hypothesis, I guess. The automatons have one ship type, a transport ship with a powerful, long-range, heavy-duty railguns. When they want to transport units into a different planet, they simply, like, FTL past everything. At those speeds, you can't really stop them, which is how they kind of, like, get past all their super destroyers. No level of orbital blockades will stop it, and when something is moving that fast, it's best to just let it reach its destination. If you put something in front of it, nothing survives. But sometimes they can reside like just a few 100,000 light years away from planets and like targeting their weapons at super destroyers because they don't want to get too close because, you know, they get shot by the super destroyers' incredibly powerful orbital cannons. So they stay far away, hoping to kind of like gun them down. And then they can't get close. They can't get too far because then they're out of range. And the Sea Navy patrols and scans deep space looking to intercept these fleets. I'll put maybe a graphic explaining everything. If you want to see kind of like the investigation that went into this, you can make a comment, and I will read it. I read every single one of my comments, and yeah, while you're down there, subscribe, I guess. Listen, I know I haven't uploaded in a long time. I worked on 3 separate videos, but none of them turned out right. I'm also just really busy with school right now. Sorry. Monsieur Omar, if you're watching this, please stop giving your 10th grade science class daily homework. Please. Anyways, Liberty Day special coming soon. I'll see you next time, I guess.